The Wildcats face Sam Houston State for their final road game of the regular season. I'm Max Preston.
And I'm Grant Boone. We'll preview that game that has playoff implications and recap the Wildcats' third straight victory. It's the Adam Dorrel Show right now. Welcome to the Adam Dorrel Show from the JMC Network studios on the campus of Abilene Christian University. I'm Grant Boone alongside ACU journalism major Max Preston and the head football coach at ACU, Adam Dorrel. The Wildcat win streak is at 3 and counting. After a thrilling 49-47 victory last Saturday here in Abilene, ACU is now 5-4, 4-3 in the Southland Conference, just one game out of first place with 2 games to go. Coach, you told Seth Wilson in your halftime and post-game interviews on the radio broadcast you weren't happy with a lot of what you saw, but what does it say about a team that can make some mistakes and still find a way to win?
Yeah, I think we showed some grit, toughness, resilience. We had talked about it before this week, but I think for me it's the first time we've won a close football game since we've been here as a coaching staff and as a team, and so you got to look at the positives in something like that. We've always been on the other side, the losing side of those close football games. So I think we finally got over that hump mentally and emotionally. And then there's things as a coach when you can win a game and still have a lot of correctable things and learn from. And I really think that's going to help us be refocused and play with a lot of energy today.
So, Coach, last week you tell us you're not really focused on standings or postseason possibilities, but after a crazy weekend in the Southland last week, has that changed now that you're one game behind in first?
It really hasn't, and I've always been like that as a head football coach. I've always tried to get guys to focus on the process, everybody in the organization. There's some, and I don't mean this in a negative way, I mean in a positive way, but there's still so many things that we have to correct as a football team. And my experience is if you have great attention to detail, if you play hard, you don't turn the football over, focus on that stuff, and all the standing stuff takes care of itself. And, it's control the controllables. And, as a coaching staff, as a head coach, as assistant coaches, if we're not talking about that, if we're not worried about that, then hopefully the team's not going to be in that. I don't want them to be worried about that. It's just we need to focus on playing hard, playing with a lot of energy, and trying to figure out a way to beat Sam Houston State, which we haven't done since 1983, I think. So it's a lot of positives.
And that's a big enough challenge.
Absolutely.
On its own. And we'll preview that game against Sam Houston State a little bit later on. But when we come back, the happy highlights from the big home victory over Northwestern State last Saturday. We'll get Coach Dorrel's analysis when we come back. Stay right here. It's the Adam Dorrel Show. Welcome back to the Adam Dorrel Show. Last week, the ACU football team won its third straight game, outlasting a very pesky Northwestern State team, 49-47. Coach, you were coming off a bye week, and for teams on every level of football, that can be very unpredictable. You never know how a team's going to come out. There were some very, what I would call, uncharacteristic mistakes by your team early on. I know you're not an excuse guy, but in looking for explanations, is it possible that the layoff could have had an impact on it?
Yeah, as a coach, I thought we were very emotionally flat for what we had been, and so, trust me, when a game like that's over, you sit at home and you comb through what you did. And there's a couple things we did during the bye week that we'll try to maybe fix for next week and try to have us ready to play a little bit more emotionally. But, I just go back and I just felt like we were a little bit flat, which is puzzling at times. And then the game kind of gets going and you're trying to work yourself out of it, and then it almost like it gets stressful. And then it's almost like guys are playing, not to lose instead of playing to win. And so, again, that's something that we've continued to try to talk about. But I wish I had that answer for you, Grant. I'd be going across the country working with everybody on bye weeks because I don't know if there's a right or wrong recipe. It's just it can be difficult at times.
So after NSU scores, you respond with probably one of your best sequences of the year. You get 2 touchdowns, 2 3-and-outs, and a blocked punt. How close are you from running away with this game early?
Not to take anything from Northwestern, I felt like that. I felt like we're right on the verge of flipping the momentum here, flipping our emotional energy, and we're going to have a chance to just go, and get the crowd going. And we didn't get that done. And again, you go back and you look like, what should we have done as coach? Could I have been more aggressive in this call? Could have been more aggressive in that call? But I agree with you. After we blocked that punt, we have a chance to scoop and score the thing, and it's just there's so many little things right there, and you got to give them a lot of credit. I thought they played really hard. I think that's a good coaching staff in their first year together, and I thought their kid, for their record and to be where they've been, being on the road, man, I give them a lot of credit. Their guys never quit playing hard.
It's 17-14, and a couple of minutes to go in the first half. And these are these moments, you see this with the New England Patriots a lot. Score, then you score to start the third quarter. But for that to happen, you had to overcome a little bit of adversity. 4th down and 5, inside their 30. Really windy day and kind of a swirly wind, kind of an unpredictable wind. You opt to go for it. Luke stands tough, delivers a pass to Cody Ennis. He gets down inside the 5-yard line. Then he finds Tracy James for a touchdown. So with 15 seconds to go, you go from 17-14 to 24-14. Take me through those two plays, if you would. The 4th down play where Luke finds Cody for the big play on 4th down, and then the touchdown to Tracy, and the play call from Josh Lambert.
Yeah, there's a couple things. Is like, Oscar's been kicking really, really well all year. But any kicker would tell you, man, that was a tough kick right there with the wind at that distance. And we've done a really good job. Coach Walsh is in charge of our field goal team. I think we've done a really good job of communicating with Oscar, watching him in pregame. And we really draw a line in the sand and say, here's what we're going to do it when we're not. And at that point in time, no question, we're going to go for this thing right here. Went through, thought it was a good play call. I mean, we had that saved in our pocket, dialed it up a little bit. And then just to score, another good thing, we killed the clock. Again, those are all things that look really little, but guys have to have the understanding what we're trying to do, get up, kill the clock right there, and then score. And I thought it was just huge. And then we came out third quarter and scored right away too. So 2 very big drives by our offense.
So coming out in the third quarter, you go up 20 points on NSU and you get a touchdown and a field goal. They come back with 2 touchdowns of their own, come within 6. But then before the 4th quarter, you get a big play to Kalen Sadler, 52 yards, and you get a Tracy James touchdown. How big are those 2 plays before you hit the 4th quarter?
Well, I think the play to Kalen was really big because, again, as a coach, we try to save a couple things. I think we do a good job of setting things up as the course of the game. You just kind of hold, and then now it's time to shoot your gun, and we did. We had been saving that formation, build some motion, and again, but it's one thing to save it and talk about it, but now the players have to go out and execute it. Kalen ran a beautiful double move route and got open, and I think for me, maybe one of the plays of the game is he's tracking a defensive back on his inside shoulder, and he gets whacked from behind on his outside shoulder.
Yes.
The fact that he did not fumble that football, I think, is huge. And he had really good ball security. So credit to him, man, of having fundamentals and practicing, what we preach as coaches.
Fun to see a guy who's a senior who had never scored a touchdown in a game until this year, and now he's become a big play weapon for you, the senior from Lawton, Oklahoma. It's a tight game. It's 41-35. They have, as you said, never quit. And then they get the ball back, and for the first time since really the first quarter, they've got a chance to tie or take the lead. Then you get a couple of huge plays. You get a stick on Jazz Ferguson, their terrific wide receiver. Initially, it's ruled a fumble.
Yeah.
They overturn it after review, which we all agreed with. One play later, when Quay Washington picked off Shelton Epler, returned it for a touchdown. Your first defensive touchdown in 4 years for the ASU program. And I'm just thinking about Quay. And I'm thinking about Jonathan Piccone, who hadn't played the last 3 or 4 weeks. Jonathan has 2.5 sacks.
Yeah.
Quay has, the pick 6. And besides that, played a whole lot of snaps on Saturday. Can you overstate the impact those 2 guys specifically made?
No, and it kind of goes back to your initial statement on that bye week. If we would have played that game 1 week earlier, we wouldn't have had either one of those young men. And so proud of them. You start with John. John's a converted linebacker, and when Jack called him into the office and said, we're going to move you, and here's why, he never blinked, never wavered. Been tremendously unselfish in what he's trying to do. He's a hard-nosed kid, man. Plays hard. And then Quayshawn, again, being out. I think for me, the fact that they were both so hungry to play because they'd been out for so long.
Like it.
And it was just great to see their energy, and I thought they both had huge games.
So, the Demons are pesky. They get a 3rd touchdown pass to Jazz Ferguson, their star receiver. But Ferguson, he only has 4 receptions in the game. Adonis Davis is 5'9", and Ferguson's 6'5". With that height advantage, how do you feel about Davis's performance?
I thought he played tremendously well. I'm very proud of him. Adonis is a really good competitor, and I think I just had a radio interview here, and why do they keep throwing? Well, I think just people naturally look and think, well, he might be a little vertically challenged, and so we need to do this and this. But we, pound for pound, I'll match him up against anybody. I'm proud of what he stands for, and we would take a lot of kids like him in our program because he competes every day. He understands how to compete. He loves to compete. And man, when you put young men on the field that compete every day and everything they do, it's a recipe for success. It really is.
And when you look, again, the caliber of player he was going
Yeah.
Jazz Ferguson has good chance to play in the NFL.
Absolutely.
A terrific receiver, and Adonis held his own. Okay, 49-47. They score with 1:34 to go, and they're going to go for two. They throw it in the end zone incomplete. Pass interference called on ACU. They get it from 1.5 yards out. This is a game with 96 points scored, and yet you get a huge stop. I believe it was Dante Hibbert right up the middle. Sometimes it's not about total stats at the end of a game. It's even in an offensive game, sometimes it comes down to one play, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I think you go back to the defense, the 2-point conversion stop right there I thought was huge. You can say the kid missed the PAT field goal. We had pressured him so much the whole day, and that's our defense on the field, and we feel like we had a lot to do with him missing it. So, yes, those plays really stand out to me, and I've been proud of our defense. I feel like they've played well all year. I feel like we put them in bad positions with turnovers all day, and our kick coverage wasn't where it needs to be, and so the fact that they just kept chopping wood, and I thought they were very resilient, was really cool.
Last thing, we saw Billy go out in the game with an injury. Can you tell us anything about Billy going into these last two games?
Yeah, we're expecting him to play today. We've kind of weaned him back this week, and we'll see how he looks. But yeah, we're doing our best to get him back, and he's doing everything he can. So we're cautiously optimistic he's going to be ready to go.
Scored another touchdown before he went out of the game. It is going to be a huge game, ASU and Sam Houston State. Later today, we'll preview that game. But as we go to break, take a look at scores from last week around the Southland Conference, including Incarnate Word's blowout against those Bearcats of Sam Houston State. Stay with us. It's the Adam Dorrel Show. Welcome back to the Adam Dorrel Show. It's been an historic week for the ASU athletics program with a look at what's happening all over the ASU sports world. Here is Max.
Thanks, Grant. As you may know, the soccer team defeated Stephen F. Austin Sunday and was crowned Southland Conference champions. They also received an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament for winning and will face Baylor in round 1. Here's a look back at soccer's historic weekend.
The Wildcats got on the board first with a goal from Christina Arteaga, assisted by Sam Vestal 31 minutes into the game. Just 4 minutes later, Katie Acosta extended her team's lead to 2 after scoring a goal of her own 10 minutes before halftime. In the second half, Arteaga scored once again nearly 60 minutes into the match. This padded the score to 3-0 in favor of ACU. SFA was able to break its silence as Katie Jennings netted a goal with 18 minutes left. The Wildcats were able to hang on though and captured the Southland postseason title, defeating the Lumberjacks 3-1. It was a day to remember for ACU as they became the first soccer team to reach and win a Division I postseason conference title. The championship win also gave the Wildcats an automatic bid to the Division I NCAA tournament, which is the first time for all of ACU athletics. 4 Wildcats were named to the all-tournament team, including Acosta, Arteaga, Michelle Mulrooney, and Shay Johnson. Johnson earned MVP of the tournament after scoring a goal against McNeese and scoring the only goal of the game in their win over number 1 seed Central Arkansas. Offensive stars Arteaga and Acosta, as well as goalkeeper Rachel Johnson, said they were thankful for the experience and happy to get the historic win.
Honestly, we're just playing for each other and for a bigger purpose out there. It wasn't just one person, it was all of us fighting for that win.
It's amazing. It's a great feeling. We worked so hard for this all season. We had that goal at the very beginning, to win conference, and, we did it.
I'm just so thrilled to be able to have this experience with my family. They worked so hard. They made it easy for me because I didn't have to do a whole lot this tournament. But I'm just really proud of them for everything that they've done.
As mentioned already, the team was given an automatic bid to play in the NCAA tournament for winning the conference. A reveal watch party was put on for the Wildcats on the club level of the football stadium Monday afternoon. Head coach Casey Wilson and a few of the players shared their thoughts on the season and predicted who they might play in the tournament. The team and many other people watched as it was revealed ACU would take on Baylor once again. The Wildcats faced the Bears on the road for their first game of the season and ended up losing 2-0. They'll get a chance to redeem themselves from that loss Saturday at 7:30 p.m. in Waco.
Congrats to the team on the win and good luck in the first round of the tournament. We look at volleyball now as the team was tasked with a tough weekend taking on the top two teams in the Southland Conference on the road. ACU dropped its Thursday match to Central Arkansas 3-0 and lost to SFA 3-1 Saturday. The team remained at 4th in the standings, however, and clinched a spot in the Southland tournament despite the losses. The team will play its final regular season game against Sam Houston today at 1. Finally, the men's basketball team opened up its season with a lopsided 107-54 win over Arlington Baptist. The Wildcats shot 62.1% from the field and 47.8% from beyond the arc. Jaron Lewis led his team in scoring with 18 points in the game. BJ Maxwell and Joe Pleasant followed with 14 points each. The team will host Arkansas State Friday for its second game, and the women will also play their first game of the year against Southwest College before the men play. Well, that's all we have for this week's Sportscast. Back to you, Grant.
All right, thanks, Max. The chain of command within ASU football begins and ends, of course, with Coach Dorrel. And the two most important links in that chain among his assistants are the coordinators, Josh Lamberson, who runs the offense, and Tremaine Jackson, who orchestrates the defense. Seth Wilson, ACU's video coordinator, takes us onto the field and into the huddle with Lambo and Coach Jack mic'd up.
You ready to go today, Javorian? Okay. They start practice in Odessa yet? They started practice? Yeah. Oh, yesterday? Okay.
If you do your job, you've done enough. Now, your boy mic'd up.
Oh, like that?
Your boy mic'd up now. So here's what you gotta know. Today is your day. This is your hour.
Get there. That's a good shot. There you go. Now we're spinning. Here. Nice job. Much better job with your feet.
No meat. Now we're gonna see how you practice. Everybody in life wants something. Nobody's willing to give anything. Everybody wanna know God is a healer, but don't nobody wanna be sick. It is what it is, and it costs what it costs. There we go, motor, mirror, inside layer, right? Set, go. Boom, 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 there you go. Set, go. Good, Seahorn. Good, Seahorn. Hey, Cyber, I'm gonna stop calling you Seahorn.
I can't get stuck, Oscar. Get set. Nice timing, good job, quarterback. Love it.
I just wanted to do that.
You can throw as many balls back here as you want, brother. Five steps right there, perfect.
That's good.
Yep. Put it right in the middle. Look at you! I see you, my man, good shot.
Whooped him. We don't even like spinners, but we will.
You've had coaches yelling at you. You've kind of had some self-doubt. You've kind of had some things go wrong. But you came back today and you came together. And you encouraged each other and you supported each other. You loved each other. And then you went out and you made plays for each other. And then you got excited for each other. That's it. That's what great units do.
Good stuff. Thanks again to Seth Wilson, ASU's video coordinator. Big challenge for Coach Lamberson and Coach Jackson today as the Wildcats take on Sam Houston State. We'll preview that game with Coach Dorrel when we come back on the Adam Dorrel Show. As we welcome you back to the Adam Dorrel Show, take a look at the jam-packed conference standings. With 2 games to go, there are 7 teams within a game of each other, including ACU and Lamar, which may be the only team hotter than ACU. They've won 4 straight games. Now, something to note, UIW plays only 8 conference games. That could really create some havoc in trying to determine a league champion. The league office may actually have to decide which team gets the Southland's automatic bid. Now check out today's schedule around the Southland Conference. All 5 games in the conference have postseason implications, including Incarnate Word at Central Arkansas. A win for the Cardinals would clinch no worse than a tie for first in the loss column, and it's a must-win game for the defending conference champion Bears, who will play here in Abilene to close out the regular season. All right, now to the matter at hand for ACU. A 2:30 kickoff in Huntsville against Southland Conference powerhouse Sam Houston State. Both teams 5-4 overall, both teams 4-3 in the league. And only the winner will remain alive for a postseason berth and possibly a league title. Coach Sam has dropped 2 of its last 3, but this is still Sam Houston State. For the last 7 years, they have made it to at least the national quarterfinals. A couple of those years, they made it to the championship game. What are you expecting from the Bearcats in Huntsville today?
Well, you know, you set the record aside. They're the same Sam Houston State. They're extremely athletic. To me, it really starts with their defensive line. It's the best defensive line, in my opinion, in the conference. And so you got to find a way to manage the defensive line. After that, they're super dynamic in special teams because they have so many athletes. And then, you know, offensively, they just have had some injuries here and there. It's been kind of a running back by committee, and they've had some injuries on the O-line too. So, you know, we've got a huge challenge in front of us. And I think for me, it's just we have to play with a lot of passion, a lot of energy when we get going early in the game. And I think if we can do that, I think we'll be just fine.
So, Sam Houston lost Jeremiah Briscoe last year, but their new quarterback, Ty Brock, hasn't had too much of a problem with having, Nathan Stewart and Davian Davis. Stewart is the second in the conference in receiving yards, and Davis has the second most touchdowns. How do you prepare for a duo like that?
Yeah, it's difficult. I think for us, it really starts with front identification. I'll take it a step farther. We got to stop the run. If we can try to make them one-dimensional, get them in obvious passing situations. I mean, again, we've talked about it. It's the 2 top third down defenses in the conference. And so that for us, it's stop the run and try to find those guys pre-snap and just try to manage them a little bit. Don't give up the big plays over the top.
Kyron Jackson, a terrific running back for them. All right, on the other side of the field, you mentioned their defensive line. Derek Roberson is #1 in the nation in sacks with 13.5. He's tied for first in all of FCS football with 9 forced fumbles. The guy he really was in the shadow of the last few years, P.J. Hall, who's now a second-round draft pick of the Oakland Raiders, and Roberson may be right behind him in the NFL playing on Sundays next year. What makes Roberson so difficult to defend?
Well, they do a good job of moving him around. They'll put him on guards. They'll put him on tackles. They try to get very specific on third down where they're lining him up. He's got a very specific skill set like P.J. He can speed rush you, but he also has the good power moves where we call it long stick, and he can push a tackle into the backfield. There's not, whatever level, high school, college, pro, where there's just only so many kids that play defensive end that have both of those talents. And he's very, very good at both of those. And so it's going to be a huge challenge. I think what we got to try to do is run the football, take some pressure off them, and throw the football when you want to, not because you have to.
So Sam Houston is usually arguably the biggest name in the conference. I think before I even got to ACU, I would see them on TV and see them playing as one of the better FCS schools. Is a win against them today, even though they haven't been the same Sam Houston in past years, is it a big win, or is it just another win on the record?
No, I think it would be a big win. I really do. And I say that because, it would be the first time since going to FCS that ACU football team has won 3 road games. So I think that would make it special. We haven't beat Sam Houston State since 1983 as an institution, and the fact that they have been, and they still are, man, it's a great football program. They're an elite football program. So I think it would be a landmark victory for us.
What a challenge.
Absolutely.
Great opportunity as
well. We're very excited.
Bauer Stadium, always a tough place to play, but we will have it for you. The kickoff is at 2:30. The pregame show on 98.1 FM and online begins at 2. For Coach Dorrel and for Max, I'm Grant Boone. Enjoy the game against the Bearcats. We'll see you right here on the Adam Dorrel Show next week.